Hello my friends. I just wanted to show you a quick little tour of my backyard, and I wanted to start with this little tumbler that a neighbor gave me over 6-7 months ago now, and I've gotten a couple uses out of it with putting in grass clippings and shredded cardboard and what have you. And it's really I did harvest once, and it's a little hard to handle one-handed, but you can see that all the shred and grass clippings that are in there, and they seem to be breaking down. They break down kind of slowly, but it stayed pretty, because the sun comes up over on this side of the house, it gets pretty hot, so it breaks down pretty quickly. But I received a package, and it had these biodegradable peanuts in it, and for packing. And so I did give those to the worms. So one time you saw me, and I wasn't real pleased with how they break down. As soon as they get wet, they really start to break down. But anyway, I'm just gonna put those in there, and this thing works pretty well. Give it a turn, if you can do it one-handed, and give it a couple turns. But you can see, you open it up and it's pretty much tumbled. And so I get some worms in there, and also try to push that in there so that it doesn't. The bottom part has a little knob on it. It has a little thing, this here, and it's almost like a little faucet. You just take that off, and any liquids that have collected run out of there, and you can use that for your plants, or you can just empty it if you like. But I just wanted to show you some of the backyard real quick here. Rick is cutting grass today, so he'll be behind me soon. But you can see the Plumaria are still full of leaf. The leaves are starting to develop rust, which, if you live anywhere where it's tremendously moist, you see this. I'm trying to find a leaf that would show it to you really well. Most of these look still pretty healthy. I've been trying to every day come out and pick these leaves off, because they are the ones that do get rust on them, and then they fall off, and I just collect those. But anyway, this is Juicy Fruit Island. You guys have seen it so many times before, and I call it Juicy Fruit Island because we planted an Asian pear on each end, and then I have a peach tree in the center, and I did have my tomato plants, which are considered a fruit, so Juicy Fruit Island. But just recently, these are fig trees. This is a cold hardy fig tree, and this is just one from Lowe's that my neighbor bought last year, and he had like a little twig that came off the side, so he broke it off and gave it to me, and it seems to be hanging in there, so we'll see how it goes. And anyway, in the center now I have my Moringa plants growing, and I think I'm going to have to top them all, because as you can see, I mean, some of these are getting way too tall, and I've been taking small amounts and drying it, and then putting it through my NutriBullet so that I have the powder, and we can have that with our morning yogurt. It kind of disguises the flavor. But this is August. It's really hot. We're going into 90 every day, and hard for the plants that are here. But we're also getting a nice afternoon rain, so that's working really well. Staghorn fern. It's funny because they do like the shade, and I never had shade before really, but I seem to be, because of this tree, this Plumaria tree growing up, is providing a nice amount of shade for it. And of course you can see I have more Plumaria. Anytime I have a branch that breaks off, I just let it dry out and stick it in the ground. This is the mango. It's an Adolfo mango, and I got the two fruits from the grocery store, and so I, just propagated the seed and let it go. How it turns out, I really don't know, but it's interesting how the bottom leaves always look very green, and then you come up here and the new ones look like they're dying off. And then these will turn green about the time this sends out more shoots, and the shoots will look this color. So for the first several times I kept going, oh no, it's dying, and then I realized that apparently is the characteristic of it. The tea plants, that's TI, they're also called portolan. Those all came back from the winter frost. Everything froze last year, and I lost a lot of things. The ones on each end kind of suffered the most, but this grouping seems to have taken it okay. The Crepe Myrtle, let me get beyond and then I'll come back. People always ask me, what is this? Well, this is this plant, this tree, came from a cutting from the front yard, and this is the roots. It keeps sending up shoots, and you have to just keep cutting it back so that the energy goes into one instead of into many. And you can see it's starting to get its berries on it. And those berries, if you let them mature, they'll just, turn brown and then, die back. But it is still flowering. It's so pretty. And I see bees on them for most of the day. I have another one over here, and you can see this is a different variety. It's a raspberry. And it's like it comes out later, and it really only has one flush of color. Whereas this mauve over here usually sends out two. It'll send out the one, and then it'll send out more branches. And of course right in between is my red maple. Yes, I know it doesn't look red, does it? But that's what they call it. They call it a Florida red maple. And you can see in between I have some of the first moringas that I've gotten. And I've told you about this tree before, that it is they call it the tree of life. And it has an interesting flavor. If you guys can try moringa, it's really good for you. I mean, it's the tree of life. It's supposed to be, it cures everything, unless you ask somebody and then they say, well, I really can't say that. I can just say that it's supposed to. So, take it with a grain of salt, and if you're in India, you would be cooking with it. They use it in a much more wide variety of ways. By the way, the Brazilian spinach has just gone gangbusters. My friend Nick gave me just a little, like a little cutting from it, and it has taken off. We've eaten some. It tastes good if you cook it like spinach. I'm not real fond of the flavor by itself because the leaves are a little thick, but they stand up well to cooking, which is good to know. If you're like frying up some bacon and you're trying to cook greens with it, you don't want the greens to really disappear. So anyway, here's the other mango. And you can see it really, it took a freeze in February, and it didn't take it well. The other one did. I had it really covered and protected. This was over on another section of the yard, and I thought I had it protected, and I guess I didn't. So when I transplanted it, it really went into a shock. But here you can see the other section of spinach. This was the original one piece, and it just went crazy. It did start sustaining some damage, and so I came out with the neem oil, and I know I've told you guys about this, that if you have any problems, if you take the BC powder that you usually see more in the south than you do up north, it's a headache powder. and I take that and put it in a 16-ounce bottle of water, and I mix my neem oil according to directions, and then put that in the 16-ounce bottle, and then put a package of BC powder in with it, and that kills aphids and just about any other bugs that I see on it. And as you can see, this is really flushed out, very healthy. So these are the sweet potato slips that I planted really just, what was that, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I had my tomatoes in here, and I planted, I think I put 3 slips on each side, maybe an extra 3 on this side. And so I know I've told you this time and time again, but sweet potato leaves are edible. Now, I'm not going to eat it raw, but these work really well, again, like a cooked spinach. It does break down a lot more than the Brazilian spinach, but it's a very thin leaf, and you could have it like wilted. That would be great. You could just, wilt it, and it would work like a charm. So let me come over here. Here's my compost pile. It's going to get an addition of grass clippings today once I clean all of these leaves off. But you can see that it's mounding up, and it's really starting to look more like compost than it is parts of, the raw parts. Again, the tea plants grew nicely, came back. This Moringa was the original that Nick gave me last year, and it looked like it froze in February, and I just kept it. And look at how thick this stem is. In comparison to a finger, it's probably, that's an inch. So I need to either cut it back or trim this Plumaria, because it doesn't like being in competition with the Plumaria. If you've never seen a pigeon pea, this is what the tree looks like. It's a very interesting tree, and it has real pretty blooms on it, and then the blooms turn into little pea pods, and then they open, and whoops, I can't hold that both. Let's see if I can open one for you. I'll do that one-handed. Let me just show you what the pea looks like inside. Those have dried too much. They would be great as seeds, but they wouldn't be good to, if you're going to eat it, then you'd have to soak the peas and then cook them. That would be good. Yummy. All my tomatoes have been pulled out of the side of the house, and now I'm just kind of letting it sit with cardboard and grass clippings on top so that it can refertilize. The microbes can grow. Everybody will be happy whenever I finally do get back over there. Another Plumaria on this side. Seems to be hanging in there. Down below we have all volunteers on the pentas and the impatiens, or vincas, whichever you call them. Again, these were volunteers, and I just stuck them all in a pot so that they could, you had a little bit more presence to it. I'll show you the juicy fruit from this side. And again, this is the cold hardy Chicago fig, and this is a 20th century Asian pear. And if you've ever had an Asian pear, you know how delicious they are. And if you haven't, go to your grocery store and see if they carry them. They're usually a couple dollars for a piece of fruit, but they're certainly well worth it. I'm hoping next year to see a few peaches on this tree. This is a Florida Prince, and it's supposed to only need 100 hours of chill time. That's anything below 45, and I think we'll probably get that. On this side I have my 2 hibiscus, and I just cut them back a few weeks ago, and they've really reflushed and look like they're ready to set some blooms. I don't see any. Do I see any blooms on them now? Not really. Maybe just nope, nope, nope. Don't see any. Sometimes it's good to just cut things back, give it a chance to rework. This is a little teepee that I planted. I took my branches and made just a few archways so that these sweet potato vines could grow up rather than laying on the ground. I think you get cleaner, you keep your food cleaner. And another one. I mean, the sweet potatoes just go crazy. I can't imagine what it's going to be like digging all of this up. But maybe in another month or so, we'll start to do that. The agapanthus is done blooming. Another hibiscus over here. Again, I don't see any blooms on it. Some Moringa that I had left over in pots, but I don't have any place for them. And the other side of my yard with the tea plants, portalins, whichever way you call it, whichever one, and some spathiphyllum down below, some pentas. Really, I've just, in my yard, it's not a really purposeful thing. It's what do I feel like planting here, and what have I got, and so work it in together, and enjoy the day. Enjoy the view. So anyway, that's it for August. This is midway to September, and I'm certainly looking forward to some cooler weather. And we should be getting it probably by the end of September. We'll start to see a break in the heat. So I hope everyone has a great day and stay well, and come and see me again soon. Bye bye.